What's up, guys? Your boy Steve on the NDO Podcast. Today, I got my boy Vic Joshua. Former, I guess, rival in high school. He had some great battles. He was all NEPSAC player. They won the championship. And then obviously he had a storied career. He went to St. Anselm's, went to 4 straight NCAA tournaments all his years, including 2 Sweet 16s. Amazing career. Now he's a teacher, giving back to the youth and coaching and training kids. So what's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I had to get you on here. I would definitely want to go back and touch on some of our battles. I just the whole point of the podcast. I know you've seen you've listened to a couple episodes. You've seen some of these things. And it's the main thing is to just be able for you to tell your story, and basically from there, just we don't know who's listening. We don't know who could be watching, and we want to be able to have everybody tell their story. So, one part of your story might relate to anybody. And so I'm just trying to put content out there where it's going to help somebody grow. And, maybe they fall in love with the game in a different way because they see something different. So, let's start from the start, from your origin, where you're from, and then kind of what led you up to high school, and then we can get into the high school years. We can go back and forth there, but let's talk about your love for basketball, where you started playing and things like that. Where you from?
Yeah, man. New Haven, Connecticut, born and raised. It really started with my pops, like most of us, you know what I mean? Like, pops is a Hartford guy, grew up on Adams Street, right by the bakery. So basically him having the love for the game, following him around to, the pro-ams he was playing in, and any men's leagues. And I was just, there with my mom's in the stands, like any other little kid trying to get a shot up when I could, that type of thing. And from there, you're around it so much, you got nothing but, to fall in love with it. So that's kind of how it started from a real young age. And then, from there, you kind of just become like a student of the game, where it's like, everybody on every NBA team, their stats, you just obsessed with it, like you really can't do much when it comes to actually playing, but who's playing tonight in the league, NCAA, whatever it is. So I was just obsessed with it at that point. Then I kind of fell into the, rhythm of trying to, play as much as I can, whether it's outside with friends on the street, getting into little like rec leagues. There's one called Hamden Regional that I was in down here for years, which was awesome. And then like I didn't really get into like real organized official basketball till about like sixth grade is when I really got into it. Really like try to perfect the game for myself, figure out my game, get into skills. And one thing my parents did that I, loved them for is like they wanted me to get a really good education was number one. And then two was like, let's not forget your roots, who you are as a Black man. Like, you might go to school at this private school, but after school, I'm bringing you to the rec center, where you can play with all the inner city kids and stuff like that. So, I'd be playing basketball. I went to a foot school. That was it was like a Yale affiliated elementary, middle school coming up. So I would mostly have the gym to myself, at lunch, recess, whatever it is, and I'd just be in there getting shots up because it wasn't really it's not like inner city school where like basketball as Black kids, brown kids, or whatever growing up, basketball, football, like that's everything. It's kind of like make it or break it for us. So like if they had gym access like I did, probably we had games going up and down during lunchtime all the time. But for me, where I was at, I was just I was still obsessed with it. I was in my own world. And then I'll go over to the rec center. So I had a good balance of, playing with, the more white, privileged kids, which was awesome. So I saw like two sides of the game growing up, which was kind of cool and unique. And then like when I went to the rec at night, like that's where you get the dog, you know what I mean? Like you just playing as hard as you can, playing for Pride, that type of stuff. So like I always go back to those times where it's like it kind of made me, you know, who I am today, and like the type of player I was. Then after foot was weird. It went from kindergarten to ninth grade, and obviously not many middle schools go to ninth grade. So like I did my freshman year there, and then I went to Hampton Hall um, after that for 10th grade. So that transition was kind of tough because I was so used to the type of people I was around, the type of basketball I was playing with those guys. It was cool, but it was definitely I wouldn't say a rude awakening, but you know, it's a wake up call. You know, different high school's different.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Now, what was the process in terms of like, so your coming up was a little different compared to a lot of other kids, especially one of your background, right? Do you think that puts you at an advantage in terms of just you overall, or it was just or you just see it as it was just education and it's just you're looking for it was like, I mean, obviously when you got to the high school level, I mean, your parents are still going to do what's best for you, but did you at that point, did you have a say? Did you guys look at different schools? What was that thought process like?
Yeah. So I know my parents still wanted me to look at the private schools, or even if it's public school, we were looking at like the magnet schools, like Career, places like that. So really, it was just like Wilbercross, Career. Hill House was like, nah, they wasn't messing with Hill House. And then Hampton Hall. So the Hampton Hall assistant coach was my AAU coach coming up, Shawan Moncrief. He basically already had his foot in the door with me, like, we're trying to get you over here. So it was a matter of basically, can you pass the test to get in Hampton Hall, that type of thing. And then as soon as they came back to me, that was, it was a go. Like I'm going there. So there was options, but I never really like personally was like, oh, I want to go to a public school. I want to be there. Cause I had friends there, but it was just a different lifestyle that I was growing up with at the time. You know what I mean? Like, I think I would have been fine at the end of the day just because I did have that balance, but Hampton Hall was more for me at that time in my life as a kid. I already had, like, my neighbors went to Hampton Hall. Like I said, my coach was already there, so it fit better. So I already had my mindset, that's where I want to go, that's where I want to be. And it worked out.
It worked out. Yeah. So I mean, like I mentioned for the audience listening and watching, me and Vic had some battles. It was, I would say Hampton Hall, probably the year. So I was at St. Luke's. So we played in the FAA. There's teams in there. At that time, that was the downturning of, actually, that was the decline of Brunswick. For everyone, just so you guys know, Brunswick is a private school based in Greenwich, Connecticut. And they ran the FAA from 2000s to maybe the early part, the end, maybe slightly the end of that decade, like 2009. Then they kind of started declining. And then that's when the FAA kind of, in my opinion, the FAA became a legit league for the next, I would say probably about 4 years, where it was really solid. We had a lot of highly talented kids in the league where, people kind of, for me at least in the Fairfield County area, they were like, why are you playing in that scrub league? And I'm like, dude, do you not know who I'm going against night in, night out? Like, I'm not playing scrubs. I would play against Jason Pierre. I would play against you and BJ and Darren. And I played, who else? Laurent, he went D3. Chase,
Lucas.
Lucas. Lucas played a couple years like, people don't know, like, they were hoopers in the FAA. So, I hated Hampton Hall. I still kind of have a little, it is just rooted in, and it was crazy because I was coaching St. Luke's when they had, the three kids. Adams, Christian Adams, the
Oh, Trey Breland.
Breland, and who's the other guy that went to NJIT?
That's Trey Breland.
Oh, it's Trey. And then who was the guard?
Uh, Tim Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah. So when I was coaching my guys, I can't like they were like it brought me back to our battles because
Yeah.
they St. Luke's and them that was a we lost to them in the chip and that hurt. But anyway, so it's just like it was just a lot of stuff. But like let's talk about your development there, you recruiting, like the recruiting process in terms of your career while at Hamden Hall. Um, how you met those guys, Darren, BJ, and then if you guys don't know, BJ is like 1,000-point scorer at Wesleyan, had a great career. Darren went to Hofstra, then he transferred to Vermont. I think he played a couple years pro.
Yeah, he went over to Spain.
Yeah, that's where he did play. So like I said, there was hoopers in our league. But yeah, just go ahead, briefly talk over that process, meeting those guys. I know you guys are real close still to this day.
Yeah.
But what led to them coming there? Were you the first? Were you the anchor to that? And then your recruiting process, how that going to Hamden Hall and then playing with your AAU team. I don't. You guys played. I don't. Well, you get into it. Go ahead.
So yeah. So what's funny is we were always a close knit group. So BJ is my first cousin. A lot of people don't know that or don't believe it. Like we tell them all the time, like our moms and sisters. So we've been together like this forever. And then Daryl we knew when we were in like second grade. And then we all just kind of played AAU on different teams together, travel, whatever it may be. And then I think ninth grade year was the year we all really started playing AAU together. And then it was Coach Moncrief again. He was the one that orchestrated everything. And then that's when we found out about Darren. So Darren was just in Milford, Connecticut, playing with some scrub team like the CT Crush or whatever. And it was a 6'8", lanky, athletic kid just running around over there. So his dad was looking to get him into, a better program and stuff like that. So I was with East Coast Elite at the time, which is We Are One now. So he comes over and immediately, like, you were ninth grade and you see a 6'8" walking in, you're hype. Like, we're good. And we already had a solid team because we were mixing. We had a couple Hill House kids, career, all that. So once he came, he kind of was like that last piece of the puzzle for us. Like, okay, we got something. We could work with this. So he was at Foreign High School at the time. BJ was at Xavier, and Daryl was at Career. So I'm just getting into Hamden Hall. I don't know if you remember, but I was playing point center.
Yeah, at one point, yeah, when you guys started, yeah.
It was me, KB. I don't know if you remember KB. He was
I remember KB. Yep.
KB came, and then it was everybody else was like football players basically. So if that was a tough year, we didn't have the greatest year. I think we was like a 500 team, and I felt like I was just doing everything. And that was my first like high school experience. And Shawan's like took note of it. He was like, "All right, he can't do everything. We need more." So that's when he got BJ transferred over that year. Daryl and Darren. So they all came into the junior year. And we just had a crazy AAU season. Like we were killing. We were going to Baltimore to play in the Nike tournament, lost in the championship. We just got a sponsorship with Under Armour, so we was feeling good. And I think going into that junior year also was the year Darren and I remember NER was the shit.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, New England. Yeah.
Cracked the top 10 in Connecticut for our class, which was like Chris Dunn, Tamaj Parker, Terry Tarpey. So we was hyped. We was feeling good. So that's how that worked out. It was really just Shawan, us already knowing each other, and we were just like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And that was already like the era of like when LeBron and D Wade,
the big three. That was your big. That was
everybody was like, let's make it happen. It's happening everywhere. So this is our turn. And then like junior year, just that was my favorite year at Hamden Hall, just like playing high school because that was our first year together, and it was fun, man. Like you said, Our rivals were you guys and Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Hopkins' game was crazy because Laurent played AAU with us, and
So
then he went to Hopkins, so we already had his number out. And then Lucas also, that was our guy, but he was tough, man.
Lucas was the toughest. Like he had this go-to spin move and pull up. Like,
and then he just was crafty. Like he had the pump fake, or he would take the three, grab your jersey, so you foul him, and he hit the buck. Like it was wild. Like he was just a smart, savvy type player, and it's crazy because he didn't get recruited wildly. Ends up at Bowdoin, and I think he was like Player of the Year or something. He was tough.
he was D1. He was a D1 cat. At least scholarship at least. His shoot like you're 6'3", 6'4" shooter. How does a D1 school not? And then he was crafty. It wasn't like he couldn't dribble or anything. Yeah. It's just like what I'm saying. Like I was gonna say before, it's just like Connecticut has so much talent and gets overlooked. That's one of my biggest pet peeves as a trainer now. Like I'm seeing it more and more. It's like, but I see we do have a lot of talent, and I see kids that are, high level, having success, but there's not enough recognition on the part of where they're from, and but yeah, so yeah, I know your first year there, we played like 5 times.
We played a couple times, bro.
I think we played about 5 times. We had our normal, this is what happened. We had our normal 2 games.
This is your junior or senior year?
This was my I think this is my senior year.
So before you get there,
okay.
I had to bring this up. I remember because this is still an ongoing thing in the group chat. We always say, who did Steve give 38 to? It was something crazy. In my sophomore year, you went crazy. You went bananas at the home court because our gym just opened up, everything. And then we had back-to-back games with you and Hopkins. Lucas gave us like 35 the night before. Then you came in and gave us like 38. And we all like, it wasn't me back-to-back.
Yeah, I honestly, it might have been because I know your coach didn't. He switched up a lot of people. I know BJ was on me, but I was guarding BJ. I remember BJ was cooking me because my coach yelled at me. He was like, "Can you guard BJ? Can you guard him?" I'm like, "Yo, do you not know how quick this dude is? He's coming from NBA 3 with the awful quick crossover. What am I supposed to do?" Yeah. No, that game, we had some high score. I remember that game because the game was almost like 100 to like 98 or something. It was a ridiculously high score. Both teams weren't missing, but it was tough. That was fun. But yeah, so we played those 2 games.
Yeah.
Then we played. I think we played in the KO tournament. We played you guys. Then we played in the FA chip and then the NEPSAC chip. So that was 5 times. You guys got us in the NEPSACs.
Yeah, man.
That was it was 2-2. I think it was legit 2-2, and that was it.
I mean, you couldn't write it out any more perfect.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you guys lost the league chip, but then you guys got back in our version of states, which was NEPSACs. Man, I kid you not, like just for you guys that know, like Vic was hard to guard. He had he was shifty. His mid-range pull-up was tough. BJ, you guys don't know, was quick as hell. Like, and then his 3-point shot. And then, mind you, like St. Luke's, we had a legit 3 basketball players. Me, a kid named Brandon Yarborough, and Josh Dugas. Not Josh. Yeah, not Josh. His brothers. I was gonna say Zach, but we had a bunch of other like multi-sport athletes, but they were solid. I'm not saying they were bad. They were really solid, like fundamentally sound. Like could shoot, could defend, basically what you needed them to do. And we were undersized. Brandon Yarborough was guarding Darren at 6'8", and Brandon was probably 6'2", but he had a long wingspan. So
he had a motor.
Yeah, he was the highest. Yeah, he just didn't give up.
No,
and he just grabbed. He had big, huge hands, palm the ball, rebound.
Right.
But we had some crazy battles though. And then you guys ran the league next year.
And we like you said, we hated you guys. Like hated. We were like, what is it? Because we be thinking like, yo, they only got really 3 guys we got to really worry about. The other guys, we just got to find that mismatch, figure it out. But like y'all played so hard and like just had the motors, all you guys, and you clicked, like you knew how to play and you guys played together. And that was the thing with us. Like there would be times where we would just look, because there was teams in the FAA at times it was like, we got this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like GFA was that example, and then all of a sudden GFA became a powerhouse over the last I think 8 years.
Yeah, Obi, Tremont, dude, Hunter. Yeah.
And they have some solid kids up to this point, just keeping up with them, keeping up with the FAA. But it's the league's not the damn my contact. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So but yeah. So you guys run the table senior year. AAU's going all right. What's your recruiting looking like? Like I thought you guys like I made the decision to walk on but I thought you guys were definitely like Division I players, like all three, your main three.
Yeah.
So I mean, what was that process like for you at least? What did you go through? How did things turn out for you?
So mine was kind of a whirlwind. Like it was tough, honestly. Like that was one of the toughest times of my life. Because I was so high in the sense of um, things were just going well. We won a championship. I'm getting the letters, I'm getting recruited, I'm getting the calls. And then like for me personally, it just kind of went black. Like it just went quiet for a long time. And I remember we had like Stony Brook, Vermont, Northeastern, a bunch of like those mid majors was heavily in our gyms all the time. And I'm talking to these coaches, and Northeastern comes. And that was like the one that was on me heavy. And I played great in this practice or whatever we were in this workout. And he goes to my dad and my coach and he's like, we're gonna offer him. So expect a call tomorrow or at the end of the week. So my pops coach come in, everybody's happy, whatever. And I'll never forget, it went quiet from everybody. Like I didn't hear much at all after that. So from then till about June, it was weird, man. It was, and like you said, like it's tough because you're a solid player. You know kind of what you work for, what you deserve, what you feel you deserve. And what something crazy happened where my transcript when I transferred from foot from that ninth grade year didn't get over to all the schools in time. So they thought I was a junior. They thought I only had 3 years of high school. On my transcript, it only has 3 instead of that ninth grade year. So they was like, well, he'll be here next year. So we don't have to really use it right now. So that screwed me up entirely. So yeah, that messed me up, man, because I didn't know anything. I was like, what's going on? Coaches didn't really have an answer. And then it's just like that's just something where it's so unlucky, man.
Yeah.
you it's just something you can't make it up. You can't write that out. Like it just happens. So and honestly, like that's just God for me. I was just like, he has something else planned. And that's kind of what kept me going. And like it was tough because like Darren's my guy, BJ, that's my dude, and even Daryl. But like watching them go through the process and be good was tough. You know what I mean? Like Darren, he had about 15, 20 schools on him. BJ had another handful, Daryl was already committed to Eastern, and I was just sitting there. And I'll never forget, I ended up getting a call from St. A's. I was at Disney World, like on my class trip. I get a call from St. A's that like, we want you to come in, check it out. And I'm like, who is this? I have no clue who this school is. So I'm like, I got nothing else right now. So let's figure this out. But I mean, I had the NE10s at the time because like early on, they didn't even really call me for junior and senior year. They were just like,
They thought
yeah, they was like, you good. You're here if you need it. Because my guy, Tobin Carberry, who's assistant coach at Columbia right now, he was at University of New Haven. And he's been Shawan's boy for a minute. And he basically came up to a game, was like, you good. If you need one or a scholarship, let me know. So I always had that in my mind, but NE10 wasn't like kids nowadays. You know what I mean? Like they hear the D2, D3. Like I was a victim of the same thing, like not understanding what it really is. And yeah, I was fortunate enough for them to call. Coach Dixon calls me, tries to get me up to campus as soon as I get off the flight from Disney. We drive up there. I remember I stopped at UMass Lowell, which was also in the NE10 at the time. They're now in American East. And then I went up to St. A's. Cool, but I also knew I was in like a desperate mode anyway, and I knew I didn't really want to go to prep school. Like I wasn't prep school was just a new thing back then,
Yeah.
so I wasn't like I need to do it. I wasn't. It just didn't feel. It didn't feel right to me. So St. A's was there. They offered. I'm like, all right, like let's do it. Let's figure it out. And in my head, at first, I was like, I'm just gonna go for 1 year and I'll transfer out somewhere, try to see what else I can get. But I didn't know what the NE10 really was, man. Like that league is tough. That is good basketball. Like it was a shell shock immediately. I knew the first day of practice when I saw the speed of everything and like how quick things were going. Mind you, the point guard ahead of me at the time led the nation in assists for 2 years. So like he already was on a different level. So like following that and keeping up with it was crazy. And a lot of people don't understand. I hope the kids like grasp onto this. Like the NE10 is like top 3, top 5 leagues across the nation in D2. And that's one of the only leagues that has 10 scholarships, where D1 has 12 for every team. So every 15 teams, I think, in NE10 now has 10 scholarships. So that's where you get a lot of like the guys like me that were, D1 and low D1 guys or fringe guys who fall through the cracks, end up, they go there, and then it's just as competitive. Like for example, Merrimack. They just went over to what league?
I think the American East too, right?
Nah,
oh, NEC. They're in the NEC.
NEC. Every year go to the NEC. They win the league. They just couldn't go to the NCAA tournament because of that year when you transfer to different
division.
So like that's just
But yeah, to your point, like it's just like basketball is basketball, and like we were just talking about this. It's not about the name. It's about what fits your style, and then what school wants you. Like those are like I think two of the main main keys when choosing a school. And like you got to know the coaching staff and the playing style. You have to actually study it, not just go there, visit. They hype you up and this, that, and a third, and then next thing you know, you get there, it's not what you want. You got to really put the time in to understand what you're getting yourself into. If you don't, you might end up, it might not regretting it, but it'll be a hard learning experience.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm gonna post it on social eventually, but like it's important. And I think you were self-aware of what was going on, and you understood that. And like you said, your first practice, eye-opener.
Yeah.
I had, like I said, my eye opener, like I said, like I honestly, I had an ego in high school. I thought I was better than what I was. I always tell people that now. And my first practice at Fairfield, I remember, like I was hype. I got in and I was a practice player at the time because that's what I had. And I stole the ball, and I was like, yeah, like I played great defense. I drove. I thought I was wide open. I slowed up a little bit to lay it up. Next thing I know, I just hear this. So it's like, and I would look up. I was just like, what just happened? Like, it's a different, no matter what level you go to, it's a different game, and kids need to understand that. But yeah, so go ahead, talk about keep going with that. How, your career went at St. A's, and the winning cult, like you guys had a winning culture, and that's like, you making 4 straight NCAA tournaments for no matter what level of basketball you play, that's amazing. It's like amazing. So just talk about what it takes to be a part, like to what you did in terms of you working, what it takes for like a player to be successful and things like that.
Yeah, so like we said, good situation, good people around you. That should be the number one thing for any kid that's getting recruited. And like my coach, I think this is 36th year or something like that. He started coaching at like head coach Division 1 level, I mean Division 2, when he was 27. So like our age, my age. And dude just knows his stuff. Like he's so smart, savvy, and we never was like a big athletic team. We just knew where to be, and we just played the game right. So, that was the number one thing of my experience there that I would like to relate to any kids going up, looking, getting recruited is situation and the people that are there. Because like you said, like a lot of coaches, they'll bullshit you. They'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. Tell you that you're going to play a lot. And that was the thing that stuck out to me when me and coach spoke was like, I don't know how this is going to go for you. I don't know if you can play right away. I don't know if you are. Like, he just told me straight up, like, you're just going to have to prove yourself and we're going to go from there. So that was awesome. And I
like that. I like
yeah,
that. Sorry, go ahead.
That was a good sign right away. So like, I knew that lit a fire in me. Like, okay, I got to work. And then, so freshman year was cool. We were really good. They just came off a tough season. So coach is already fired up. He's ready to go. And I ended up, I don't know if you know Andre King. He played he's from Springfield, real good hooper. So it was Dino Malios was the first guard, Andre King, and then I was the third as a freshman. Dino, he played the whole season, but Dre gets hurt. So like I gotta slide in and play minutes right away. So that was awesome. That was a good experience for myself, like being able to get on the court ASAP, play a couple minutes a game, be a part of that culture. That was awesome. So I had a good freshman year was cool. Get to the NCAA tournament. We get bounced out real quick. Sophomore year was amazing. We ended up, that was our first year going to Sweet 16. We were just hooping, man. Like there's nothing when you find a good culture and it's like your best friends and you guys are just clicking and you just hooping. So every night, no, you good. We were just going at it. And mind you, like any 10, like I told you guys before, is wildly competitive. So we had Mike Mallory at Southern Connecticut, who's the all-time leading scorer of the conference. Greg Langston was on that Southern Connecticut team. Deshaun Murphy, who went to Hyde and then went to Lehigh and then transferred over there.
And what was Tylon on that team?
Ron Smith. Tough. So
that's all order. That's a D1. That's a D1 team right there.
They all easy. Yeah. So we like that's the type of caliber you playing night in, night out at the NE10 level. And so we meet them in the Sweet 16 in the championship, and we were just going at it, bro. Like it was fun. And me and Mike, like that's my guy to this day. Like we like this, and we still talk about it sometimes, like. But yeah, so we ended up losing to them in the Sweet 16, which was tough, but it was an awesome year. Then junior year was good. A couple players got hurt. We still made it to the championship, but it wasn't the same. And then my senior year, made it to the NCAA tournament again. Junior year, that's when I had to step up into the starting role. I was starting point guard, playing basically 30, 35 minutes a game. So I had to adjust. And I think a lot of kids nowadays, like the transfer portals every year are crazy. And if you're not that, I feel like a lot of kids feel like if they're not that guy right away that's playing a lot of minutes or the coaches are making them tons of promises, they don't have that patience to wait, like hold out. And I think there's something to that. You know what I mean? Like maybe it don't reflect your life right now, but I know like when it transferred to like with my job situations and stuff like that, like take that time, be patient, your spot's gonna come. And when it'll come when you're ready for it. You know what I mean? And I hope a lot of kids don't, not to say don't strive for nothing bigger or larger or whatever that you have for yourself, but there's something in being patient and waiting for and earning what you deserve. And I felt like I had to do that. So when I got it, I was ready. You know, I took offline, and like we had a good year. And then the next year, I made it to like an all conference team, honorable mention, stuff like that, and went to the Sweet 16. Who we lose to? Stonehill. We lost to Stonehill.
Know that anytime.
Which was cool. So all 4 years was amazing, man. Like you said, like it's hard to especially in that kind of league to do it 4 years straight. So that's why when your man was like, would you would you take anything back? Would you want another year? Nah, I'm good. Like I did some stuff that a lot of people, you know, don't get to experience. And, you know, if I there is one thing in my recruitment that I would change would be how I have the outlook on a lot on the teams. You know what I mean? Like my thing was D1, D1, D1. Whereas like if I go to a D1 and I forgot who was NJIT was recruiting me, right? And they was like the worst team in the country at the time. And I was like, imagine how miserable those 4 years would have been. 4 terrible years just to say you went D1 or go D2, play a good conference, play well, get opportunities after school, stuff like that, and like still have best friends to this day that are like a solid core. Like you can't beat it, man. And I don't think a lot of people think like that. So definitely just gotta that stigma. I hate it, and I think it has to go.
Yeah, and obviously we can talk about this now. It's just like the effect that social media has on the kids now. It's like we had social media, like, but it was just jumping off. Like
Right.
Instagram, like I got Instagram my sophomore year of college.
I was freshman.
You were I was like that 1 year, yeah. So I was like I was a sophomore, but it was just whatever. It was just for personal stuff. It wasn't like a business thing, like how I have it now. Or Facebook was there, Twitter was there, but Snapchat just came out a couple of years later, and then now we're starting to use it to show our lifestyle and blah blah blah, show off your life, kind of like whatever. And like a lot of these kids, that's what they grown up on, the TikTok, all this stuff. And like there's good with it and there's bad with it. I mean, the good with it, people are developing their own brands at a younger age, providing good opportunities for themselves, learning how to be professional, or even some kids like being able to start businesses and make money, where they save up, to do things that they want to do. But then there's the opposite where it's just like, oh, yo, like you seen Mikey the other day, Mikey, what's his last name? Williams or whatever. The dude out in Cali, he's in North Carolina now. Like, yo, he's getting all this attention. Like, yo, I want to be like that. Like, and it's just like you gotta do what's best for you. You gotta live your life, write your own story, and then keep grinding from there. And that's my biggest thing is the perception of social media. And like, I mean, go ahead. I mean, what's your take? Like, I want to hear what you got to say about it.
No, everything you said was correct, man. I think it takes away when you have that, when you don't have social media, I felt like you had your own personal journey that you were going through, right? Like you had to confine in yourself certain things. You had to figure out, go to a parent and talk to them about certain things or whatever it may be, so that you had that journey for yourself to figure it out. And you didn't have that many influences telling you, oh, this, if you do this, it could look like that. Or if you do that, it could look like this. Where I think that's where we benefited was we basically were told, work hard, good things will come for you. And that was just the journey, and you take what you earned, basically. Whereas kids now, it's like, nah, that's over there. I need that. Even though that journey, your path isn't going that way. You know what I mean? Like they're just forcing themselves to that, which could be detrimental at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like you're not meant to do that. That's not for you. Your game's not there yet. I know you want it, but maybe the way you get there got to be to the left or go to that way. So like, and that was me, right? Like I didn't just have a great high school career and then go to a D1 and then have a chance to play professional after. Like I had to take the back routes and do different things like that. And then I was able to, after I finished playing college ball, like I had an offer from Greece, an offer from Spain. You know what I mean? Like I got there, it was there, but I had to go a different way. And I think a lot of kids are just like, nah, if I don't do it this way, then I'm not valid. I'm not
Yeah,
good.
and that's what I'm saying. Like
Mm-hmm.
the other positive thing about I want to say social media is the education. Not, but let me just put a asterisk there. There's a lot more education, but that does not mean all the information available to us is good information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of helpful information in terms of the process. Understand there's people who've been through it. Like I had nobody to really turn to when I
Right.
was trying to go play professionally. Like it took me a while. I didn't have anybody to turn to and say like, "Yo, I didn't have a great career. I my senior year I averaged like 5 points
Mm-hmm.
in the MAC. Like where can this potentially get me? Some my numbers, my shooting percentage wasn't good. Like I'm an example. Like yeah, I overcame a lot of odds, but I also didn't prosper like the way I thought I did. To get to my point, I outworked guys who had
Mm-hmm.
10 to 20 offers coming out of high school.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, so it was more the fact like like I had to figure out what to do on my own, which is why I'm training now, because I prefer to be somebody that I wish I had to either talk to, or like I need to get better at this. How can I get my shooting percentage up? How can I create more opportunities within this offensive system? What should I do on defense to make sure I stay on the court if I'm not hitting shot? Things like that. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Right.
But like, it's just crazy just to think that the education that's available now could change a lot of kids' lives if they have somebody pointing them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's vice versa. It's like if you have one person who has a different perspective on things. It's crazy. I just posted Kyrie video clip of him talking about perception of him and whatnot this morning. But just crazy how if you have one other person with a different perception, like a lot of kids can also go to that and it might push them down the wrong path.
Yep. Yep.
So it's just all about like you said, it's hard, but it's like trying to having good people in your corner to help you realize like, yeah, chase your dreams, but also are you working to
Right.
that goal? Like, are you putting in the work to get there?
Mm-hmm.
You see somebody like Mikey, you see like these like Bronny or like whatever, like yeah, they're not anomalies because of their athleticism, their background, their situation.
Yep.
But they also, some of them are working hard. You don't see all that. You just
Right.
see the end result. So
Agreed.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but
Right.
but yeah, no. And then like, did you what made you, you said you got to that point, what kind of deterred you to do it, or what was that thought process? Because that's a big point to get to, where you have a great career, high school, college,
Mm-hmm.
now you got a couple pro contracts on the table. What was the thought process at that point?
So now like this was tough too, because like now, the headaches of, you find your agent. Is it the right agent? Is this guy gonna work for me? So right, I think after the season, about a month, I signed with this dude out of Israel. It seemed like a good dude, but you really don't know. You know what I mean? Unless you talk to somebody that's been through it and like they can tell you, yeah, he's good or he's not. You really don't know. And I didn't have that guidance either. Um, so went with it. And it's a waiting game after that. You just work out, you work hard. So I think it was from graduating May. So May to like June, nothing. Just you don't hear no word. You asking him every day, yo, what's the deal? Who'd you send my tapes to? All that. And he'll get back to you when he get back to you. And a lot of the times it's you're impatient, obviously. Like you wanted to come ASAP. Then June came, or June or July, one of the two. And I asked him like, have you heard anything? He's like, yeah, you got an offer in Spain. was like, all right, cool. Like immediately, I'm like, I had been to Spain before. I was like, Spain's dope. People like it's a lot of people speak English. Like it's a cool spot. So I'm like, I'm in. Say less, no more, whatever. Then he's like, nah, let's wait and see what happens. But what a lot of agents do is if the money's not right, they want to wait and see if they can get more because that's part of that goes into their pocket as well. So he wasn't really looking out what was best for me or what I really wanted. Like for me, I'm a young kid, fresh out of college. Like I just want to go hoop somewhere, and go to the beach later on. Like that's all I wanted to do. Like he wasn't thinking like that. So he's like, all right, let's just wait and see. So I'm waiting, nothing. Like ain't nothing coming. Give him a call, like, hey man, like let's just go with this Spain move and we're gonna keep it pushing. And he was like, yeah, they ended up taking it off the table. Somebody else took it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, bro. So he's like, yeah, something will come. Just be patient. Just wait. I'm like, all right, man. Come to find out, my teammate had signed with him too. And my teammate was like fed up. He bought out his contract and was like, I'm done with this. So like, now I'm like, damn, I don't got no extra G to buy out my contract right now. Like, so I just got to sit and wait. So that sucked, bro. Like, and then at that time, you're in your head now. You're like, do I want to do this? Like, or, just get my career started, stuff like that. So now I'm thinking like that. And then I get the offer from Greece. And it was like, it was weird. It was an offer, but it was like, you if you come, you gotta go through this week of tryouts and you're good. And then you'll get like this amount of money or whatever. So I'm like, it just didn't seem right. It didn't seem great. Like it wasn't like something where I'm like, I'm jumping on it. And I felt like it was, and overseas contracts is like, if you don't do one thing right or how the team wants you, you're out.
It's performance based. And if a team, like if you don't gel well with the locals,
right,
like in terms on the team, the nationals, like they can kick you out. And if you don't, as an import player, like there's an added pressure to do extra well.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the higher levels, obviously everyone can hoop, but like at a lower level,
yep,
like to start off with, you gotta kill. If not, they can go find somebody else. You're expendable.
Right. So I'm thinking all that because I knew a couple of people that was already over there, and they was telling me the deal, and I'm like, do I pay all this money, get out there, stay there for 2 weeks?
He wasn't paying for your trial flight and stuff. The agent.
Nah.
I'm not gonna lie, that's the same thing that happened to me. I didn't have an agent though.
Yeah.
After my year in Canada, I had another tryout. I had a tryout like kind of like that in Spain for 2 weeks. But I had to come up with $2,000 to get the flight and pay for the stay over there, and then everything else would be taken care of. The guy was like, "Yo, if you can pay this, like, and you've already played in Canada," he's like, "There's no doubt in my mind you're gonna get signed, but like that's a risk." And then you put 2 G's in a hole.
Right. It's like, do I do that? I'm not working nowhere else not right now. Like I can't just put 2 G's down. So or whatever, especially the Greece. So and like the economy over there, like I'm that kind of guy, and my parents brought me up like that. Like I'm looking to the economy. These dudes getting paid on time, stuff like that. And like there was so much in Greece that was like negative. So I was just like, all right, I'm off that. So I think it's like October now. And I'm like, I gotta get a job. Like, I gotta figure it out. And that's when I was just like, see what happens with ball. Like, my contract's not up till May anyway. So I'll ride it out with this guy, see what happens. If something comes, it comes. I'll stay ready. Right now, like, I gotta start, thinking about my career, my life ahead. I can't just be sitting around. And that's kind of how, like, I ended up going into, getting away from basketball for a little while, which is tough, bro. Like, that was depressing. That was one of the hardest moments of my life. And it kind of affected my life until about a year ago, where it was just like, I don't really know what I want to do in my life now. I'm trying different type of professions and just to see what clicks. And now, like, it's funny that this year, like, is one of the best years I'm at, like, in my life that I've been having, and basketball is back into it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coaching now. I'm doing one-on-ones. I'm working on camps in the future. So it's funny how it works. And certain things are meant for you, certain things are just not.
Let's talk about that really quickly.
Yo, let me grab my charger real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. There you go. I'm just gonna talk. All right. So like it's crazy how he brought that up. And we're gonna, when he comes back, we're gonna talk about for everybody to understand too, life after sports. And there's this lull. I talked about this on Clubhouse with some random people about different sports. Um, that it's tough. It's not easy. And you know, like I said, like, you know, both him and I both been lucky and blessed enough to have the careers that we had, and we have the perspective that we have, and we're both open-minded, you know, individuals, and we want to make sure we give that back to the community. So, you know, like I said, I think like I'm gonna post a lot of like some clips of this on IG, and I hope you guys are listening to the podcast, but there's a lot of gems here, a lot of takeaways for you younger hoopers, even hoopers going, you know, on that verge, the college kids going trying to go after the go pro. Like it's a process to it. And then even if you decide not to hoop after school, like like what we're about to get into, so you can hear this, we might have to cut it short a little bit, but so what I wanted to talk about really quickly with you, Vic, is just like um what happened. Like that's an important thing, the mental health aspect, in terms of just like, yo, what am I going to do with myself? And I'm not going to lie, so what you probably went through for a little bit, I went through, you know, back in, I want to say 2017. Right, it was right after I came back from Canada. I decided to like, I had the Spain thing, I didn't want to do it, just broke up with my, you know, with the girl that, you know, I've been with for a long time. And I'm just like, I'm at a new point in my life, don't know what to do with myself. um you know, what kind of, obviously you have to go through your experiences and whatnot, but what was that aha moment for you? What helped you kind of get to that point where now you kind of started putting you on the path, like the path you wanted to go to? When was that aha moment for you?
Um, I think like is as bad as the last year has been, like COVID wise and like
Yeah.
mental stuff. I think it was right before COVID hit. I got into teaching and stuff like that, and what clicked for me was just being around people. So like before that, for the I think 3 or 4 years, I was in accounting. So I was an accountant. I was at a desk all day. I'm just sitting there. Could like I just wasn't for me. Just because like in the world of basketball and being on a team for that long and that many years, like you're just around people all the time. Like you just need that social interaction. And once I got into teaching, I'm around kids again, um, and just talking, not feeling like a robot every day. So once I got into the classroom and just was being myself and felt like a normal person, that's when it clicked. Like, okay, I'm supposed to be out and about around people, helping the community, um, giving back, stuff like that. So like that was the moment. And I had no intentions on teaching. Like I was still gonna do accounting, even though I didn't like it. I was just like, oh well, it's paying the bills. Um, and basically that was just like a bridge to like till I figure something out. But amidst that, that's when I figured like, okay, this is for me. This is what I like doing. Um, and then it was this past season, I get a call from Danny Oglesby, who was the all-time Connecticut
Yeah,
scorer,
yeah.
3,000 points. I hand the whole like
Yo,
ridiculous. 3,000 is crazy.
yo, were you there? You weren't there my first year. Yeah, my first year at St. Luke's when they had the old gym. I remember looking at that number on in the banner when we went to Hampton Hall. I
Yeah.
was like, yo, that's a lot of points.
Bro had more points than I did in high school and college.
That's a lot. Nah, that's a lot of points. Like,
So,
I don't think people realize that's a lot of points. No matter where you go to school,
and people
like,
always like, oh, he had an extra year. I don't care.
that's a lot of points. Like, what?
Yeah, now you could, especially in private schools, you can play 5 years of high school without a
Right.
coach. You can start in 8th grade if you're that good. That's still
Mhm.
5 years. And I know, like, I train somebody who they're committed to Notre Dame now.
Mhm.
They started in 8th grade playing varsity and only ended up with not only ended up,
I was about to
they
say.
only like 2,000 points. Like that's a
Yeah,
lot. But that's a lot.
yeah,
A lot of
man.
points. You're a bucket. I don't care.
Up to
But
do
anyway,
it.
go ahead. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead.
He reached out to me. He was like, "You want to come help me coach?" Um, so that's when I started. Like, I was on a borderline too, because I was like, I don't know, man. Like, that's how bad I was hurt. Like, I felt the game of basketball hurt me. Like, I was like, I don't even know if I want to get into that. And I was doing that for 3 or 4 years. I was like, I might just leave it alone. And I was trying to act like I was that old guy, like I don't even want to play pickup no more type thing. Like, I'm done. I did it, whatever. And then like, yeah, so I started coaching the kids and I was like, wow, like I missed this. And like that competitive fire was coming back. And I just seen the kids get better. It was great, man. It was fire. I loved it. And
Yeah.
like that's what, clicked for me right there. Okay, I gotta start doing these one-on-ones, try and do some camps, stuff like that. I gotta stick with this because like the game found me again. Um, and like I really do feel like that's something that's meant to be in my life forever. So
Yeah, and that you see, that's great. Like, and the reason why I asked you this is just like there was that lull. You didn't know what to do. You didn't. There was
yeah.
something. There was a piece of you missing,
Mhm.
right? There was for me. There was a piece of me missing when I went through that. Like people don't realize that's a hard for any athlete, no matter who it is. It's a tough, and it's not talked about enough, in my opinion. You
Mhm.
see a lot of successful people in the world today. Like in my opinion, I think most of them are. A lot of them, people who are successful, had played a sport in college at some sort of level,
Mhm.
right? So it's more the fact um, like but we need to bring this to the attention of a lot of kids and players, because once you're done with your sport, like who's going to be there to help you get through that? Or if you don't get to play pro ball, like, or pro whatever your sport it is, who's going to be there? It's just you got to be okay with yourself. But like there's not enough education on that, where
Yep.
it's just like how to deal with it, what to do to keep you. Like a lot of people turn to things that you turn into somebody you don't know because you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah, man.
And like I know you can speak to that. I won't get into that, and I won't get to my personal stuff. But we went through a hard spot, but now we've learned from that. But now this is where we have passion for helping the next generation with, like, hey, we'll help you with the game, but this is more than just basketball. It's more than just the game. This leads you to life lessons,
Mhm.
working with a team, being around people, how to work with people, work ethic, how to work hard at your craft and be the best that you can be to put yourself in a good situation. So,
Yeah.
um, like I think they're like this was a great podcast episode. So you guys better listen to this. I hope you guys listen to this. Like this is tough.
So what you said, it was a tough time. And like it got me to a point where I don't know if you remember, but I started this thing called Respect Hoops.
Yeah, I remember that.
Respect Hoops, which didn't happen obviously because of COVID last year, but every summer, guys basically I had trouble. You played in Connecticut for
Yeah,
college, so you probably had a court to go to anytime you really wanted to.
yeah,
But like when I came home, like schools in New Hampshire, I didn't have much. So I wanted to provide stuff so people can go play, good pickup games, quality. And then I also it was like a transitioning program for these guys too. So after you play professional, college, even high school, like I wanted to be that guy because I went through it. What's next? Can I get a couple applications in front of you? Could we try a couple things to see where you? And so I was doing that for a while, which I liked a lot, which I'm gonna bring back this summer. Um, and then I got guys like Mike Mallory, like I told you, Brandon and Sherrod, who are my boys. They're gonna also be doing the one-on-ones under Respect Hoops as well. So like even when you're home and you're figuring yourself out, at least you get some money in your pocket. So
yeah, exactly. And you and I gotta talk. Like we'll talk. We gotta talk about helping each other out. You know, and like I said, like that's huge. You know, like we got to partner up with the business I got going on. I got some things in the works. I want to keep you in the loop, and you know, I'll give you an update what's going on. I don't want to like obviously make it public yet until things are more solidified, but
Gotcha.
yeah, no, the Respect Hoops, like definitely like if you guys haven't checked it out, you know, obviously I got some camera guys that I can get to the gym, and we can obviously help you guys grow, and like we want to put CT on the map, and like I think that's a great opportunity also to work on networking with these guys, and not just on the basketball court, but we can, you know, try to, you know, provide other opportunities. There's a lot of people who need that education.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So obviously we'll talk more, but we'll wrap it up here. But like, you know, thanks for you know taking the time to talk to me. I know you got a busy schedule, and I know thank you guys for listening. Whoever listened to this, watch this. This is a great episode. You know, I'm gonna get more guys like Vic on the show or on the podcast, and so you guys can, you know, hear stories like this. And I think, to be honest, this is one of more meaningful conversations I had because of, you know, what you went through, what was brought out between you and me in this conversation. I think a lot of players need to listen to this and understand the importance of all these things. So once again, appreciate you coming on, bro. And you know, we'll be in contact, and you know, everybody listen to this, stay up, stay healthy, stay safe, keep grinding, and keep working. No days off.
Thanks for having me, man.
No doubt.